So I'm Steven Buccellato. I'm with Babolat. I'm a sales rep for Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. Just giving you a brief overview of our product line. So I'm going to start with the Pure Drive. This is the frame that put us on the map. Carlos Moya won the French Open with this frame back in 1998, and from there it's been nothing but success for this line. So this is the latest rendition of our three performance lines, and that would include the Aero and the Strike line. This is without a doubt the most powerful. We do specialize in putting technology in that's really conducive for spin, but the differences are generally in the power and the control. So when I talk about power, I generally think that it's derived from the stiffness of the frame, and that can be made obvious by looking at the beam width right here. So if you turn the racket sideways, and you can see the beam width here as compared to a racket like this, the Pure Drive is obviously a little bit wider and a little bit more substantial. A stiffer frame with a wider beam is going to trampoline the ball quicker off the string bed. So therefore, this is the frame that we use that is mostly for power and spin. Going into the next performance line, that's our Aero line, made famous by Rafa Nadal, of course. This is really the best of both worlds and technology that's been I would say copied but not duplicated by a number of other racket companies. So what you'll see here is a comparable beam width through the sweet spot of the frame that you'd see on the Pure Drive. Very similar. But where they differ is through the throat, and this gets narrow. This is called our Aero technology. So what this does is, on your longer strokes, your more aggressive strokes, say your forehands, your serves, your overhead smashes, this beam width will flex a little bit more and give you a little bit more control. Yet on your shorter strokes, your volleys, your half volleys, strokes that you're not taking a big, long, lengthy backswing on, the width here kicks in, and you're still getting a nice, crisp shot, a good punch. It's also aerodynamic, so it's faster through the air. Then that leads us into our final performance frame line, or Pure line as they're called, and this is the Pure Strike line. This is narrow pretty much throughout the frame. This makes it a very flexible frame throughout. So a more flexible frame is definitely going to bend as you're coming through the stroke, and when it bends, it holds the ball in the string bed a little bit longer, and the longer the ball is on the string bed, the easier it is to direct where you want that ball to go. So those are our three Pure line or performance line frames: the Drive, the Aero, and the Strike. There are variances in weights and balances in each of the three families, so that a younger player can play with a lighter weight frame, and a stronger player, someone who's got a stronger upper body, can play with a heavier weighted frame. And the best thing to do is come into a shop like Tennis 27 and demo a racket.
And if you were going to buy a racket for a tweener player, what would you recommend?
Tweener is an age or an ability?
Like I said, he just started playing a year ago. But he's...
If there's promise there, I would say base it on the physical ability of the player. If a racket's too heavy, what'll happen is, as the racket gets away from their core, you'll see some dipping in their stroke, and that's not what we want to see. We want to see a nice level stroke. Once this habit starts happening as they're coming through, one, they're going to scrape the frame on the court, and two, you're going to develop a hitch in your swing that's going to cost you a lot of money to fix later in life.
Okay, so you have to weigh those factors and then select a racket with the help of a Tennis Pro.
Yeah.
Okay.
So your retail expert will try to narrow you down to a range of frames, and the teaching pro should be able to pinpoint what frame is best for their stroke.